So we'd like to start off the episode shouting out to men that listen to women, and, you know, that's the only nice thing we have to say about women. Continue.
It's like we just want all the women out there to make sure they're heard, they're understood.
Every time Danielle makes a point, we listened, we heard, we disagree.
You're wrong.
You're wrong. First of all, you're wrong.
Well, what's that one where it's just like he's like, and how did that make you feel? And and then what happened? And I'm just getting up and walking further and further away.
They did treat the three dudes on the show kind of like trash too. Like, do you guys need anything? Good. All right. It was like, all right, okay. So you got treated equally garbage.
Yeah, that's the
show.
fast-paced nature of daytime television, I guess.
Yeah.
Are we gonna do some sort of groovy intro? You know what I'm saying?
I'm not doing that.
I mean, you can swim. Do you want to swim? Your little swim.
Oh, cool beans.
70's dance moves are so fun.
Cool beans.
Like, welcome to this far-out edition of every film in the book. We're getting down and out and funky.
It's far out, bro.
Dude, I hate
Cool
70s
beans,
slang.
dude.
I can't believe you guys spent time Googling 70s slang.
Listen.
That made me more upset,
I
think,
was
than this movie
doing
did.
research for the movie.
Right.
My one thing was I wanted a little more, like, couple groovies, couple far out, man, and I didn't feel like I was getting that.
There was only
a
two
few,
or three.
But I just wanted to look up more slang to see what else I could have been missing.
It was spoken. It wasn't like half sung. It was that's groovy. It wasn't that's groovy. That's groovy.
Yeah, because that's probably how they would say it.
Yeah, but it's
No, you got to put a little
on.
groove into it.
Groovy's got to be groovy, baby.
I was like, man, this movie was pretty groovy.
Far out, man.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I felt heard and
Whoa.
seen.
That
All
serial
right.
killer was far out, man.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
When he murdered and raped those kids.
The 12-year-old, yeah.
They got really far out there.
Yeah. More like far under.
Oh.
Like 6 feet.
Folks at home, welcome back. This is Every Film in the Book. Today we're watching a groovy movie, Woman of the Hour. And today our first bachelor
Oh, God.
is going to answer a very important question.
All right. I came prepared for this. All right. I'm ready. What's your question?
What are women for?
Oh, God. Okay. Pass.
All right. Contestant number 2.
I don't think we want me answering this.
Well, that has it, folks. That's all you needed to know.
What's question 2? That
All
first one was hard.
Yeah, so we are watching Women of the Hour, obviously. This movie has been very big on social media lately. I've been seeing trailers pop up, and I was intrigued. I do like a good spooky or, like, murdery serial killer movie. Always fun.
Yeah.
Anna Kendrick, great. Typically like her in things.
Yeah, big fan.
So we really wanted to see what it was about. I knew it was about an actual serial killer, but I didn't know anything about the serial killer going into it.
Yeah, let me just put your thoughts to bed there.
Yeah.
I looked this guy up. You don't want to know about the serial killer.
Yeah.
I took notes and I don't want to read them.
Yeah, this one's it's kind of rough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does seem like they even limited the extent of which
Not that
could have
we're
been.
ranking which serial killers were better than others, but this one
was total mid.
Yeah, this one was a bit Oof.
No, yes, this is like it is based on a serious thing, so I'm trying to plan my
Yes.
my ribbings accordingly.
And one thing I wanted to mention too was obviously, this movie is kind of made from a woman's perspective. It's telling the story of how women typically, besides the whole serial killer thing, but like it's also talking about how women have these experiences. It's a very common thing. I have had conversations very similar to, a lot of these men that she's encountering. So I get that it's, Michael and Steve may not have had these experiences before. Maybe they have. I don't know.
Yeah, dudes don't talk to me.
But
yeah, I have had different experiences.
But no, so I think I'm gonna try my best to portray the woman's side of it without being too preachy.
We appreciate it. Yeah,
have to lower down to the men.
It is. Well, the women and men experience life very differently, and this is one of those things where I've experienced sticky situations before, but there wasn't the immediate, this could go very bad no matter what I do.
Right.
I'm a taller, regular sized guy, so there's not the overpowered thing isn't the first, like it's not in my head every time somebody walks up to me.
Right.
And then, from my perspective, I'm a pretty chill guy, and I've had people cross the street just because it's dark out.
Right.
And it's like, all right, well, I mean, it kind of hurts my feelings a little bit because I'm a nice guy, but I get it,
Yeah, I mean, as a woman, you gotta, you get in your car and you lock the door immediately. You're always looking over your back, even if it's daytime. So, like, it's also one of those things that's kind of taught. And I feel like maybe even in the 70s, it was a totally different world. I feel like people were more trusting of each other.
A lot more because social media, internet, access to information in real time, we know about so much more bad stuff.
Yeah.
That's part of the whole keep you on whatever platform you're on is you need engagement, and an easy way to do that is anger and bad stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's also interesting the time period that it's set in.
Yeah, well, I mean, this when like all these serial killers really started to flourish, because it's like, dude, you could get away with so much.
Yeah, they didn't have the technology to catch people.
And the 70s, everything looking back is usually through rose-colored lenses, where it was like,
right.
Oh, it was the 70s, the 60s and 70s. It was just
like peace
love
and love,
peace, and man, we shouldn't be over there fighting a war that has nothing to do with us. And it's like, okay, yes, that's true. But all this other stuff happened as well.
You can't ignore this.
Just like today.
Yeah.
But this side of society, generally, these stories don't get told unless it's a docu-style something,
like
on a
way
specific,
after the fact,
or some weirdos on the internet.
60 years later, or some weirdos on the internet.
Where they're like, yeah, and this serial killer was extra prolific because he sneezed every time he killed somebody.
Right.
He was known as the sneezer.
But yeah, I mean, I've watched my fair share of Criminal Minds. I love, seeing the, like, what's deeper in the serial killer, because it's fascinating,
Yeah, because it does make you like, what went wrong? Like, why
are you so messed up that
like,
you have to murder people?
I have never once had the thought, what if I just choke somebody? Just what if I just killed somebody?
But if you do, it's kind of just like I'm frustrated. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, it's like somebody cut me
pass.
off in traffic, and I'm like, God, whatever.
Yeah. It's like, I hope you get cancer. Well, actually, I don't.
No, that's mean. I'm sorry.
To play the devil's advocate here, what if they turned out exactly like they were supposed to?
Oh, shit. Like they were predetermined to be a serial killer.
Well, that would be called a psychopath, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
When you have
that was a joke. There
emotion.
shouldn't be these people.
Yeah. So it is interesting to have the woman of the hour story as the featured one for this film, because they really go into a lot more about this killer than I thought they were going to. I thought it was mostly going to be a focus on the TV show.
Right.
But it turns out you get a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Story's interesting because it bounces all over the place.
Yeah, I was having trouble keeping up with the different times. I know we were in like 5 different time periods, but it was like the way they did it, where it was like we're in the middle, then we're in the beginning, then we're at the end, and then we're back in the beginning.
It was over like 10 years. Maybe.
Yeah.
I think we watch a lot of movies. I think we're expecting that to matter.
Right.
But at the end, you know, everything's kind of spelled out for you at the end.
Right.
The jumping around didn't matter.
Yeah.
It didn't matter too much.
It didn't matter too much, and I think I was expecting I was expecting to see some form of development back and forth between it, but it was just no, the guy just did terrible shit, and we're telling the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting that they jumped around like they did, because they started introducing people that you're like, are you just gonna get killed, or are you gonna be a character?
Right.
I think it's interesting to see that we kind of get the beginning of maybe his first kill, and then also the last one.
Right.
Anna Kendrick is kind of towards the end, but in the middle. It was when they were kind of going back and forth in the middle that I was like, okay, what if we just started from the first one and then just chronologically went up? That would make a little more sense.
I kind of like how some of it didn't get explained, because the actual events, it was like we only got to see what could be explained, and so much more stuff that to this day we don't know.
Right.
You know, so there's things that we don't get to see, because in reality, most of what this guy did doesn't come to light.
Yeah, because
they set up to 130 potential victims.
That'd be fucking insane.
But they only had like how many were like actual?
He was charged of
7.
7.
7, yeah.
So like
Not enough.
7 to 130 is like, that's a lot of wiggle room.
Yeah.
Well, when it's over the span of like 9 or 10 years,
Yeah.
how, like, obviously he's doing this frequently.
Right.
Overall, his behavior, not groovy.
Yeah, they could probably also
Not groovy.
definitely not groovy. They could probably also tell, like, by the people that he photographed that they could have been victims. But maybe, I mean, back then they didn't really keep a good track record of people.
Yeah.
And then he had legitimate photography stuff. Like he worked at a photographer. The boldness with carrying around photographs was a little weird.
Why would you bring that on your dating show?
Yeah.
Like, is that going to be I don't know if that's like a trophy thing for them, and like they just need somebody to find out, or like they just need to show somebody.
I mean, a lot of them want to be like, if it's not recognized, then did I even do it?
Right.
You know, which is like,
that's a serial killer thing.
all right, well, the point, you know, I thought the point was to get away with it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's like, I'm pretty sure
I
we're still
thought that
looking
was
for
the
that
whole-
Zodiac guy.
The whole thing with crime was to not get caught doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
But they're always asking for
unless
it.
you're like the 1960s gangsters, like shooting their names into the walls.
Yeah.
Like, it was me. I stole the money.
Murdering people in a restaurant full of other people.
Yeah.
I would love to see a Criminal Minds episode on this, though, because they go deep.
Oh, I guarantee you
Well,
they
they
did
could
one.
potentially get 130 episodes out of it.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my god.
yeah. One thing that was we talk about, we know some things, we skip around, we jump around. I liked how they did that with his character, where there literally was times where it was like you catch yourself going like almost rooting for him, but you're like not really rooting for him, but he did some things where you're like, I'm paying attention to him now. I don't just flat out hate him because I know
Right.
he's the killer in the movie.
They
Yeah.
make him personable.
Yep.
Like, they're trying to show that he's a charming guy, because how else would he get women alone if he wasn't, like, trustworthy and charming?
And then
Right.
he's the one answering the questions on the show like a gentleman.
Yeah.
And calling the one, just flat out calling the one dude out. He's like, well, I can't say it word for word because we're on television here, but he had an opinion on bra sizes.
Right.
It's like, all right, good. I'm glad he pointed that out. Maybe if it wasn't the woman killer,
Dude, I think
that would have been neat.
Like, you would think, like, just with the way that guy was, you think you'd be like, oh yeah, motherfucker, where this guy's got a fucking weird photo in his wallet.
Yeah. But he ate it, so it's no face,
Oh,
no
is
case.
that- is that- oh,
that's what he ate. He ate the picture.
Oh my God.
Which-
I thought he was eating like a chip or something.
Which led me to believe that it wasn't fake like he told him because he destroyed the evidence.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Just
Well-
playing mind games.
We as the audience know that it was real.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, not cool.
Yeah, it like, cause like I sat through the whole fucking Dahmer show and like, cause it's just like a morbid curiosity. Like I want to know, like why, like what turned you down this, and like this is one of those things where they didn't really let you into this guy's life too much, which is fine. Like I don't want to know.
Yeah, whatever
why,
did that, I
like,
don't want to watch that.
Like I get it. He's a scumbag. All I need him for in this movie is he's a scumbag. I get it. But like it would have been interesting to see like just some form of like a
Like
little
he was
bit
beaten as a kid or like
yeah,
something.
like something to be like, well, good. At least he deserved that.
I think that's our humanness of something had to happen to him for him to be this way.
Right. Like
When
nobody's
in reality,
this evil.
sometimes nothing happens to people
Yeah.
and they turn out awful.
Yeah.
They turn out awful. There's awful people for no reason, and that's part of like why it sucks so much. It's just like
because you can't make it reasonable to
Yeah.
yourself.
like all of his victims were probably pretty cool. Like they were
Just
regular
yeah.
people. I mean, statistically, one or two of them had to be like a meanie head, but that's not the point. It's like
Yeah, it's like it's still people, and I'm like,
Yeah. I do think it's interesting how they show different male characters in, obviously not all of them are trying to murder or rape you, but there's ways that men come across as like just kind of creepy in real life. I mean, I've had a fair share of men hit on me, and it's like you always get that feeling, that like sense where you're like, okay, now I know he's actively trying to hit on me. And they do that in a couple different ways, a couple different
Yeah.
times. So there's like the acting coach where obviously she has a relationship with him prior, they're friends, whatever, they work together. And then he starts hitting on her and she just is kind of the like, all right, here we go.
you can literally see her in her head go, well, we knew he was going to do this at some point,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
right now. Great.
So
I'm dealing with this now.
Yeah, that's like the reluctant one where sometimes maybe you entertain it. I don't know. She did. That's on her.
Right?
right.
She didn't have to. We
she didn't
all
have to.
decided that he didn't
He
have to
also
do any of
doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would force it, Like there
Yeah,
are
but
those guys out there
he
that
threw
won't.
out that like bullshit like, well, what do you want to leave now?
Yeah.
And it's like, what is she supposed to do? Like, yeah, fuck you, take me home. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like
Especially when they live down the hall from
yeah,
each
like
other.
there's like the way they showed it, it's like it's just a different kind of manipulation. Like the serial killer was the nice guy, like telling you what you wanted to hear, but then the nice
guy
guys
also
were
did-
also telling
Yeah.
and like manipulating and
It
deceiving.
did kind of make all guys seem pretty shitty, but then again, it was a story filled with shitty guys.
right.
Yeah.
They were all shitty. All of them were shitty.
The only one
host-
that wasn't was the fucking dumb guy, contestant number one.
No, he was
still,
shitty.
he was still dumb.
He was so dumb it was shitty. But like the neighbor,
Yeah.
kind of shitty.
yeah.
The TV host,
Mm-hmm.
really shitty. The security guard that talks to the other lady and is like, oh yeah, somebody will be in to see you, and gives her the janitor's name like an absolute asshole.
Yeah.
Shitty. The actual janitor was the only one that when the man brushed when he got brushed, he was the only one that turned with a gesture towards the woman. He was
Right.
he was the only one that It's kind of weird, like hard to explain, but he's the only one that was like, that guy's a dickhead.
Yeah.
He seemed more genuine.
He's the only one that faced her and made a gesture of almost an apology, but it wasn't like, yeah, he explained that the security guard was a dickhead, but he wasn't like, sorry about that guy.
Right.
It's like, that guy's an asshole. Like, you should expect that from him. It's like, okay, well, he could not be a dickhead.
Right.
And that's one of those times where it's like, it does kind of feel like there maybe should have been one trustworthy male character. But at the same time, when you think about it, the story is really about the serial killer, not so much Anna Kendrick's side of it.
Right.
So, could have had a nice guy, but also at the same time, the focus was kind of on the murderer. So.
Yeah, and I feel like they're also trying to just portray actual life for a lot of women, where it's just, you're going to run into these guys, and a lot of them are that way, unfortunately.
And sometimes us as dudes do it, and we weren't trying to be creepy, but you can see the I don't want to be here, and then you're like, fuck. Now
but some
I
people
feel
can
yucky.
read, like, I'm sure you can read body language of a girl when...
Yeah, I'm like, oh, she doesn't want to be here at all. This is this is an awful 45 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm going to fuck off now.
Yeah.
Which is like regular behavior.
Yeah, and a
by the
lot of
way.
men don't do that.
No.
They just keep pushing because they want to see how far they can get.
But I don't know if you're aware of this. There's millions and billions of people on the planet. So it's like, just talk to somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, we could go into the whole, a lot of boys aren't raised to feel emotion, so they don't know how to handle their emotion. That's a big thing in especially like Western culture, is that...
I didn't get what I want. Fuck you.
Yeah.
It's like, man, geez.
Yeah.
Maybe you should work on yourself, bud.
Yeah. Maybe look inwards.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a little.
But I do think the reason they kind of keep going back to the Woman of the Hour story in the TV show is because that was like the serial killer actually went on a dating show in real life.
So brazen.
Yeah.
So they had to focus on that because that's the one thing that they had that was like publicized, I guess.
And I do want to bring this up because this is the second serial killer I know of that was caught, let go, still fucking murdered, and then they caught him again, and then they were like, okay, this time we're really gonna...
It happened
Because
so
literally,
much.
that's what happened with the
So
Dahmer
much.
guy. Like, the cop he had a victim outside, literally talking to a cop, but because he drugged this person, they couldn't respond. So, of course, the cop is going to take that guy's word for it. But, like, the neighbor is like, do you not see this is like a fucking 14-year-old? Maybe do something.
That was a little different because that was a little bit of race relations with that. That's a whole other can of worms.
Ugh.
Right, but it was just one of those situations where it's like, this could have ended so much sooner if you just did the thing.
Back
if
then,
you just listen to women.
that I heard that being screamed at me the whole film. It's the underlying dialogue is like, pay attention when anybody talks to you.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be specifically women. It's just like, listen to people. And
especially if they're crying to you saying their friend was murdered.
Yeah.
Normally, and the guy who did it is right there.
Call me old-fashioned, but if I see a woman crying, my first feeling is concern. I don't know if that makes me like a super special great guy.
Wait, you feel concerned?
Yeah, it's
wow.
like,
I guess you're not a psychopath. Then.
I'm playing for the camera, Danielle. I'm playing for the
That's the right one,
But it's
right?
like-
Concerned.
Yeah, was that the good answer?
Right? I got that one right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
So, girl crying, what's wrong? Not, how did you bring this upon yourself? It's like, what did you do to make somebody else make you feel this way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You were
mean,
existing? Oh, you were existing? Yeah, valid.
That is the typical like
gee
male trope
whiz.
is the gaslighting and the
The
you're wrong.
boyfriend of the audience member. I was just like, dude, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, bro.
Not groovy.
Yeah.
Listen to your girl.
You would think if he actually like did it, he'd be in jail.
It's like he got away with it.
I immediately was like, yeah, because after you do a crime, you just go to jail
instantly.
Turn yourself in.
Yeah.
No, not even turn yourself in. You just walk into the jail. You're like, I did crime.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm here.
Like you steal a candy bar, and as you're leaving the store, you're actually walking into jail.
You eat it on the way to jail.
Yeah.
He did come around and he apologized with flowers, so he tried his best. But he didn't go into the police station with her, and he didn't support her.
Scumbag move.
Should have supported her.
Scumbag. That's gonna be emotional and hard. Support her.
Be there,
I
dude.
mean, and especially after your thing ended, presumably because you didn't believe her or support her in this, like. Maybe take that extra step, put the car in park, there's parking spaces, walk inside, sit down with the nice police officer.
There was more than one chair.
I saw two.
There was 2 chairs.
There was coffee served too, so there's there was
even incentive for him to go. There was coffee there. That's awful. That's so awful.
Donuts. Boys like sweet things.
Yeah, boys like.
I saw a vending machine. There was probably Doritos.
Boys are babies, so there's toys.
Oh my god, that little jab she gets at him is like, boys are babies.
Right.
And we're back.
that threw him off a little bit.
Oh my god, I loved it.
I did really like how, she plays a very aware of what's going on character, which obviously this character of the woman on the TV show is probably very done up, right? We don't really know the person in the TV show of the actual serial killer in real life. So I think a big part of her character is really just to portray this is how women are typically treated, but she sees kind of through it.
It's a story of different levels of fed up. Her career's not going the way she wants. She has to take some bullshit dating game show just to be seen, which was advice from a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So do with that as you will, Danielle. So, but then, I don't know. So she's already fed up.
Right.
The flatmate or whatever, we're in Europe now. Flatmate. Flatmate. She gives in to it a little bit and sleeps with the dude.
Mm-hmm.
But you can tell she's fed up. She's literally laying there like, when is it appropriate for me to leave?
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do this, but I did. So we see her fed up. Then we see her fed up with a guy and give in. Then she gives in and does the show, is fed up with all of the men on the show.
Yeah.
Leaves the show. Even though she's fed up, she gives in again and meets with the guy.
Yeah.
But after, after that exchange, she kind of knows something's off a little bit, and then she puts her foot down and says the line, which is how all of the other women met their demise, was, I'm not going with you anywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah,
don't.
Kick him in the balls, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was nice to see, where she was like, all fed up, enough.
Yeah.
I'm changing how people treat me today. I will not go with you anywhere. And I was like,
I do think very good point, by the way,
thank
Michael.
you,
I like that.
Thank you.
A lot of times we talk about the types of movies where it feels like it's Captain Marvel sort of vibes, right? Where it feels like,
ooh, how's that feel, Steve?
No, we agree on this one.
Where it feels like in your face, women, power,
go girls.
Yeah, this wasn't that,
just
in my opinion.
Just do it. Just do
Yeah.
it. You don't have to scream at me.
No,
Yeah.
Just
because
do it.
there wasn't a fucking scene of Anna Kendrick being pushed down by one of these guys, and she's like,
she stands
and
back
she's
up.
like, no,
I am
I am
strong.
worthy.
I'm a woman. It's like,
we
yeah.
no,
It's
we
like, get it.
understand.
We get-
I get the concept that they're trying to purvey, as that Captain Marvel reference, where it's like, yeah, I get you're trying to show us women struggle and women get up and they're strong, but I'm like, this movie does it where Captain Marvel is just like, but here you go, baby. Like, open your mouth.
What if
Women
we
are
show a
people.
montage
right.
of her growing up and standing up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't take shit from the boy bully in elementary school. And
Yeah,
then,
and like even her own parents are like, you gotta stop fighting. You're a girl. And she's
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna keep fighting because I am a girl.
Yeah, it felt much more like actual struggles and reacting in a way that somebody would actually react in real life.
And
Realistic.
also, I'm going to speak for women right now, but
Michael Pelton, champion of women.
every woman experiences that.
Yeah.
Like what happened in the movie, every single woman can watch this movie and men's faces that did this to them will pop into their head the whole film.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, and also it's again the varying degrees, right? Like I haven't felt extremely threatened for my life before, but I've maybe had more of the encounters of, oh, I thought you were my friend, now you're hitting on me. Okay, that's great. Or the, just kind of seeing someone sketchy in public or something where you're like, all right, I'm going to move a little bit faster now.
This is just kind of silly, but something I literally have done is like be talking to a woman and be like, can I start hitting on you now? And then get a yes or no answer and then either proceed to hit on them or continue not hitting on them. Hey, sometimes being direct is fine. And then I've gotten several like,
oh
yeah, I would be okay with that. And then I've gotten, no, I'm just getting lunch. Cool.
Okay.
That's allowed.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
See you later.
But at least you're respectful of, people's personal space and things.
I'm also extremely extroverted and very blunt, like about everything.
But I do want to talk about that scene where it's like after the game show and like he takes her out to that bar.
I was just going to bring that
and
up.
I noticed something and I thought it was such a cool piece of like filmmaking for Anna Kendrick to put into this, where you hear couples in the background talking. And then you hear somebody go like, all right, we'll see you next time. And like you hear the door open and the door close. And as the door's opening and closing, the music cuts out in the room. The conversation starts getting a little more awkward. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, yo, what the fuck? I'm like, I don't like this.
It kind of,
yeah.
You kind of gotta get a little closer to the screen.
Yeah, it's
You're
good
like,
sound
"Ooh,
design.
here it
And then
comes."
also they cut the camera in closer to their faces. Everybody was talking about this scene.
Mm-hmm.
Without spoilers, somehow I heard people talking about how this scene, you can feel the change when it happens.
Yeah, because like from the minute he puts that cup down, or like her response to like, oh, that's a little far out, and
As
the
soon
mood just
as
shifts.
it was something he didn't like, it was completely different. And
he lost his little grin and kind of went to like a
more of the it was kind of creepy looking.
Yeah.
Which by the actor, great job, looking like
seriously.
an absolute psychopath when
he's
he needed
got a good
to.
psychopath smile.
And when he was being kind of smooth with it, he was kind of being smooth with it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he wasn't, he was very much not smooth with it.
He was very convincing.
He went
as
from
the nice guy and the fucking scary guy.
Sorry,
Yeah.
but I have to. He went from groovy to not groovy really fast.
Not even remotely groovy.
Dude killed
not a
the groove.
Single groove. But
Killing my vibe, bro.
and then Danielle, this is, correct me if I'm wrong here, but when this happens to you or any woman, the focus, like you're now 100% focused on that, so all of the stuff does go away.
You know what it is? It's the adrenaline and the fight or flight.
Yeah.
Starts creeping in. You start getting locked in. Like, ooh, this is not what I want.
Yeah.
How bad? Not is this gonna go bad? How bad is this going to be?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, how can I steer myself back out of this before it gets to that point?
And they did set it up as like, of course the guy's gonna be a, what did he say? The acting coach. He's like, he's gonna be a loser.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
He's gonna be a dweeb.
Yeah. But like, I even love the little like him ordering the second round and the waitress making eye contact with Anna Kendrick and being like, like shaking her head. But even after that, the waitress like just kind of leaves it, like
Yeah.
doesn't go like.
Well, what
"Hey."
else was she supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes.
I guess we got to
sense.
get out of here. You know, so like
Yeah.
she's not gonna follow like
Also-
she's had people leave her like everyone's left her restaurant. So why would she treat that any
Also,
different?
it's like, how do you know if they were in a relationship and he just had one too many and she's like, no, he's done, or
Oh,
like,
yeah.
maybe she didn't look into it that much.
Because
Or-
like I feel like nowadays, where if that were to happen in a bar and a woman shakes her head to the waiter or waitress,
There will be
Different-
police there.
cops
different
would be
story.
there in a
Very soon, yeah.
minute.
It's definitely a different world now than it
Yeah.
was in the 70s. And I think they were really trying to show that, where it's like reports of potential threat meant nothing.
Yeah, because
They
like
still kind of don't, but
yeah,
like,
and I mean it was so
I don't know.
new then, where like that's why people like this didn't get caught
But-
for so long, because they just didn't believe things like this were happening.
I don't think they tried so hard to prevent crime as they did to figure out what happened
Right.
after the fact.
yeah,
I feel like preventing crime was like a thing that happened more in like 80s and 90s of like
Yeah.
trying to
well,
prevent
I feel
crime.
like it stemmed from this, because it was like, dude, we went like a decade where there was just people running around killing each other. Like, how do we get to the point where we can stop this ahead of time, or at
Right.
least start seeing the signs ahead of time?
I do think that I think these complaints from women are taken way more seriously nowadays, to the
Yeah.
point where before anything's proven,
Yeah, people are losing their-
reputation.
Yeah.
You're getting canceled for the next movie. There's been like whole movements about this. So it's like, it's not a perfect system, but it is taken way more serious to the point where you lose your job before anything's proven.
Right.
And I'm going to go out on a limb and say most of them should. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
most of the time they're correct in what they said about other people.
right.
Yeah, and if you didn't do the extreme thing, you at least did something wrong enough to make someone feel extremely uncomfortable and felt like it was worth reporting. So it's like, you should have some consequence.
Right.
And then, like every other thing of human nature, sometimes people are just being mean and do it on purpose. But that's not what this movie was about.
It's
This is
not
about
what this
creepy
movie was
guys.
about.
This is about creepy guys that murder people.
Yeah, also, maybe who murder men also? That was kind of an interesting
Maybe?
take.
But it seemed like a very specific type of man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm, oversimplifying it a little bit, but it was a smaller, softer featured guy.
There is something
that-
to that, because, and I've learned this from Criminal Minds, serial killers always have a type, and that type is always generally connected to what they are sexually attracted to.
So he was just waiting for dude to grow his hair out, or
Well, if he's into women, he could also be into kind of maybe more feminine men, right?
Right.
And generally the killing is what is the release, like sex is to normal people,
is
consensual sex to normal people.
yeah, we can throw that in there.
Yeah, please.
Is this why I get hit on so much?
Yeah. Yeah, they're trying
What?
to kill you.
Do I
it-
have womanly features?
Wait,
Is this
'cause
why I'm constantly getting hit on?
are men hitting on you a bunch?
Yeah, I'm gorgeous.
You go into
No,
a
no.
lot of gay bars?
Well, just
Some-
when I'm
sometime.
feeling down about myself.
Just when I
When
wanna
I need
get
a
hit
little
on.
pick me up,
I-
I go get compliments and free drinks. So let me live my life. Now, not too often, but it happens if you go out in public.
You've been hit on by men?
I only get hit on.
Not gonna lie,
Women don't find me attractive. It's
not
great.
not gonna lie. Getting hit on by a dude hits different.
Yeah.
I've had women approach me and I'm like, hell yeah, bro, I got hit on today. Dude hits on me. It's like, all right. Oh,
It's
all
even
right.
a better
It's like,
compliment.
this is kind of nicer because this is a smaller group of people. And he sought me out. I'm doing my thing today.
I really must be wearing some nice shoes.
It's like I knew
Ask me
this
how
shirt was a
fast I
good
can run.
idea.
Speaking of running,
Yeah. Public service announcement, please, Danielle.
if you feel threatened, you can just You could leave. You could run.
Just run away. There's so many, but
there were
then
those
again,
couple that like also he drove you out into the middle of nowhere.
Nope.
Where are you gonna run?
Nope. Well,
I mean,
I don't
take
care.
my chance
I'd
in the
rather
desert.
die tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least I tried.
I'll find a snake and have it bite me and then be like, bitch, your meal's spoiled.
Yeah, see, what we gotta focus on, ladies, is sprinting, because if you
Cardio.
get that initial couple yardage, he's gonna tire out eventually.
Yeah.
So if you can just give a good sprint and then just a consistent go down to a marathon pace, you'll make it.
I just want to say, I'm pretty fast. So
Well, you got long legs.
good luck.
Fuck.
Good luck. Now,
Shit, he's
and
lanky.
that is another thing between differences between people is it's like if he's in decent shape and he's probably gonna catch you.
That's why I go to the gym. I gotta at least have a fighting
just
chance.
run. It's like, what do you need to do? I need to be able to do 40 miles. What?
You need to run faster than his car can drive through a desert.
Yeah.
No, I always get that meme. It's like so I go to the gym and train so I don't get raped because there's people who go to the gym to do the raping. So he's like, I gotta outmuscle them.
Yes.
And then,
I
like,
choose the bear.
And once that got in my head, I was like, holy shit, that is actually right. I'm like, I gotta start lifting.
So you can
So
intervene.
so I can just start going like, hey, pop, hey, pop,
Don't do that.
hey, stop it, pop.
See, and I stay thin as an invitation to try me. Try me. Because I'm down to get down.
But also, I guess the 70s was not very much of a time for women to carry things like pepper spray, a little switchblade, a gun.
I think for Anna Kendrick's character, she's not carrying a gun or a knife. But I was surprised that now she didn't have an opportunity to use it, so it wouldn't have mattered. But the runaway teenager, I was surprised she didn't have some way to defend herself, because if
you're living on the street,
if you're living on the street, I'd prefer you to be a man, because there's just less opportunity for awful things to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know, if you're living on the street as a woman, that adds a whole extra,
especially as a young, pretty woman.
Yeah.
How could terrible things not happen to her?
You know what I liked? They did not mention her being different at all.
Yeah.
They didn't.
They didn't mention. They didn't shy away from having it on camera, and they didn't say a fucking word about it. And I like that so much, because it's a story about people, and everyone's different. Some people just look different.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, she's fucking gorgeous, but she's just missing a couple fingers, and you could tell she's probably born missing some fingers.
Yeah.
Look that way.
And yeah, I think it's interesting when you can, you could say disability. It's not that much of a disability. I'm sure she has a very normal life. But featuring people like that who probably wouldn't get other.
Yeah.
She would probably never be
And it's-
like the star of a rom-com because of that, and that sucks.
But probably a badass actor that would do a great job at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know if you've noticed, but there's like all kinds of people that aren't quote unquote normal that have successful relationships and have families and do fine, and you know. So it was, and then I'm always of like, if the character's different, just show him being different. We don't care. You don't have to tell me dude's gay.
Right.
If he's got a boyfriend, I'm gonna figure it out.
Right.
You know, but you don't have to say it. Just
Exactly.
Just do, don't show, don't tell,
like
or whatever.
if you want to put a character like that into the movie, just put the character in. You don't need to justify it. You don't need to fucking give us a 30-page explanation of like, well, we really wanted to be inclusive. No, just put the character in
just be
and let them
inclusive.
be a character.
And providing me with an explanation is you acknowledging that differences matter.
That's you waving a flag like, hey, I'm doing a good thing. Do you notice me yet?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no,
And
just put the character in.
That's another can of worms. But
like, again, we say it all the time with Avatar, where they just put lesbians into the show. Or no, not Avatar, the Dragon Prince show.
The Dragon Prince,
where
yes.
it's like a show for kids, and they just put gay characters in there. They don't talk about it. They don't draw attention. They're just characters. They're treated like everybody
Because
else.
I don't know if you've been out in public in the last 50 years, but there's gay people.
They
and
exist.
guess
it's
what?
normal.
They're allowed to be in public. it's like just, but just the no attention drawn to it
Yeah.
makes it more powerful.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it needs to be powerful because it's just fucking people. Like
Yeah.
it's just people.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I didn't notice until you were like, I think there's something with her hand. And I was like,
am I seeing
I'm like,
stuff?
what are you talking about? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, whatever.
And then that was it.
Yeah.
Also, I even said something of like, oh, look, she had her hands bound. I thought it was going to be
I thought it
easier
was
for her
gonna
to get
help
her
her
hand out.
Nope.
I'm glad that they didn't even put the focus on it in that way.
Because if she
Right.
was normal, she'd have got killed. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she still had to ask to get her hands untied.
Yeah, no, I have
And she had
so
to use
much
her brain.
respect for this
Yeah,
person.
Yeah.
let's talk about her for a bit
Oh
because
my God.
that's being a street person. She's gonna have that kind of survival. This is what I
Yeah.
have to do to survive, and that was really cool
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
if she wakes up, and first of all, bro's crying like a little bitch in the sand. Like,
Yeah.
It's like just and they don't explain that either.
Yeah,
but
I'm like, I didn't know if
don't
that was like
know.
regret or if that was just him.
Steve said too that, or was it Michael?
I
It's
said
like,
something
if
pretty
you,
crude.
If you cry after sex, which obviously this isn't sex,
That wasn't. Yeah.
non-consensual, so totally different, but that maybe that was an insecurity, which is why he has to strangle people.
Go to that extreme because
to
he
get-
needs to. Yeah.
Yeah.
which is a very reasonable, logical, like, oh yeah, it makes sense that would be why he does that. Again, we're trying to apply logic to crazy people.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I can call a
also-
serial killer crazy also. Is that
That's
that okay?
fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Also,
I have no respect.
cry afterwards every time.
Like every time.
That's why I have a
Waterworks.
tissue
Yeah.
box next to my bed. Why else do
Don't-
you think?
yeah, that's why it's there.
That's 100% why it's there.
Also, like,
Those nice aloe ones.
Nice and soft for wiping your tears.
yeah, but,
I like a good moisturizing.
you
napkin.
you can cry afterwards and not murder.
Yeah.
Like that's fine. My whole life has been this way, so it's
Yeah. I do
You can
think,
do it.
I think part of it is regret, because a lot of times they say like serial killers have regret
right.
because they do the act and then they realize what they did, but it was
and
like
a-
so good for them they have to do it again.
and then normally after an event like that, there is some type of
emotional release.
release, which is crying afterwards.
Yeah.
Like,
guess
you know,
so.
I thought it was normal. Apparently, it's not normal.
Yeah, no, you got some, we got to talk
Like I
after
said,
this.
do the crying afterwards. That's fine. Just don't do the murdering.
Yeah.
But back to Runaway Girl, when they cut in, they show her pants around her ankles. We know what happened.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't.
didn't show-
Yeah, like obviously it's what happened, but I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
Like I think that's a reasonable request. Like I can acknowledge, yes, it happens. It's terrible. I fucking hate everybody who's done it, but please don't make me watch it.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't make us watch it. But she was
Yeah.
so calm and collected,
Yeah.
and she
Straight
knew what's going on.
Gangster immediately.
I thought she was gonna run to that guy in the pickup truck, and I was like, oh my god, the restraint on this girl.
Yeah.
And like even
Yeah.
the killer looked at her like,
Well,
I thought you
that-
were gonna run.
that got
Yeah.
that's what got her a better opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had
Because
to be trustworthy.
She got him to trust, and then, oh my, just to come up with the, please don't tell anybody about this. Like
Oh
it
my
got
God.
a little rough last night. You know, like she knew he was embarrassed.
Yeah.
He has to know immediately that she's okay with it,
Yeah.
or else she dies
Yeah.
in a hurry.
Yeah.
And then the first test of did I do good with what I'm trying to accomplish here is, can you untie me? Yeah, puts, and then she walks back with, she's all put back together. So, that's a great presence of mind, excellent
Jesus.
execution,
Yeah.
a terrible way to find out you're an absolute gangster under pressure.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Because that's about as much as you can get.
Seriously, like first of all, she was attacked from, behind. So she was, I think he strangled her.
I think he pushed her
yeah,
off. He pushed
he
her
pushed her.
off
Yeah.
and then walked down to,
Yeah, so clearly she was like unexpectedly attacked, right? So then I'm assume she was strangled because that's what he does. Apparently that's his whole thing. And then she woke back up from it. So you would think the disorientation of it all would make you freak out a little bit, but she was so
I think
collected.
And to me, the sad thing is the way she was able to look down, see where her clothes were, probably wasn't the first time this happened to her.
That could be very true.
Yeah, I didn't
even think about that.
not to just make it even less groovy.
Yeah.
But
my
Not
groove has been
groovy, Michael.
she looked down and saw where her pants was and immediately knew how to react to that. Like, and then it's like, okay, so
Dang.
she's probably been through this before.
I would say it's probably more
Yeah.
likely that it happened with someone who's just a scumbag and not someone who actually tried to kill
not,
her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But that part of it,
Yeah.
she had to have some familiarity with that part of life in order
Yeah.
to respond that way.
Mhm.
Cold as
'cause
ice.
I feel like
about
most
it.
people would have that initial like, what the
because
fuck?
she didn't
Yeah.
she didn't go into shock. Like,
Right.
I mean, I'm a halfway tough guy. I'm probably pissing myself if I wake up and realize that was done to me.
If you
I'm probably
wake up
gonna freak
bound
out.
with your pants around your ankles, you're probably gonna be
Yeah.
uneasy at the very least.
But since it's me, you'd probably see a smile come across my lips and go, "Oh, it's game time." Because if you
He
did this
just
to
hulks
me,
out of his
if you did this to me, I get to at least do this to you.
You got 20 minutes. Get me to the
Sorry.
nearest gas station.
We'll let you finish out. Well, yeah, we'll
And
let
then
you
it's my turn.
And then it's my turn. And what's the classic? This will not be over soon, and you will not enjoy this.
I can just see like it's like a scene out of fucking Halloween. Like Michael just sits up, fucking breaks the robe, and he's just like, "My turn." Screen cuts to black. You just hear screaming. Fucking.
Not so much fun now, is it? Yes, we were enjoying ourselves. Now I'm the only one enjoying it. Sorry, that's too much.
Too much. We gotta rein ourselves in sometimes for this podcast.
We can get kind of wild because it's kind of a real story.
Yeah. And it's like one of those things. Like I don't want it to seem like we're making light of the situation.
Obviously.
We're not. Like it's,
But a little,
We're making fun of Michael is what we're doing
Yeah.
here.
which is
like-
fine.
it's just it's such a horrible thing that people have, like, especially that this girl like survived and then still had to keep it
But
under wraps.
Who knows? And this is where it kind of gets really tough. If she didn't have prior experience with that sort of thing, she doesn't survive. He doesn't get caught. This happens to a lot more women.
Yeah.
And
Well-
I like her as the final girl.
Yeah, and
So,
like
yeah.
I kind of like that Anna Kendrick almost like took the back seat a little bit and gave this final girl like the bigger story.
Yeah.
And they started setting her up more towards like the middle of the movie. So it was kind of nice. Like, yeah, you have that fun, like, kind of lighthearted moment in the game where like Anna Kendrick kind of takes over and she's being smart after being told like, hey, be stupid for the guys.
The makeup lady. I've been on this show since 1967, and I've seen all kinds of idiots flirt with each other.
Yeah.
Nobody comes back for a second episode, so let them have it. Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, like
and then
just
she
have
does.
fun. Like that was honestly one of the best part is like, okay, so here is my mathematical equation. Like, what is yours? And he's like, what?
Just bumbling fool.
Yeah.
And we all were kind of like, yeah, that's the stupid one.
That
would be always a me on stupid-
Boys are babies. That one's an idiot. They had the idiot, the
perv.
the
Yeah.
perv, and then I don't know what you classify Rico Suave with a knife.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
and like I liked how they did it because it seems like that's like
That's
your three
how-
choices.
that's
You
how
get the
these people
stupid
come
guy,
across,
you
yep.
get the
The
like
creepy guy or the dangerous one.
yeah, or the
Yep.
guy who's acting nice but is really like
Mhm.
terrible underneath.
Yeah, I think that they were trying to show like the different kind of threats you see is like, you're either going to end up with a guy that's dumb or, whatever.
Steve, wait.
Hi, guys.
I'm not calling you dumb.
Right, don't categorize me,
No.
please.
Like, if you're going to end up in a bad relationship or you're going to get hurt in a relationship,
Right.
It's either because the person is like, doesn't actually care about you. They're kind of stupid. I don't know.
Some people are dumb, yeah.
Or they just focus on sex.
Or
so,
they're dangerous.
or they want to kill you.
Yeah.
Well, and that could be, there are dangerous men that don't murder.
That's true. There's a lot of abusers.
There's a lot of dangerous men in relationships
Yeah.
Yeah.
that don't end up killing women.
But they
just
always-
beat the shit out of them the whole time.
They always are the intelligent type, like they're always the like, they can hold a conversation and act normal in public, and then you go home and then they do the abusing.
Yeah.
So that's
I'm glad we've all lived together, so you know how I am behind closed doors.
yeah. Michael's not that. I'm not. Did you think I was pointing at you?
Yeah.
I was
Why
not
is she
doing that.
describing me on national television?
I was looking at you because you were making a face.
And I was like, it's kind of smart. Yeah, good at a conversation. I'd like to think so. Murderer.
Hey, wait a second.
But I mean,
adding
3 for 3. I guess I got to go to jail now.
I do think a lot of killers are wise because they have
Yeah,
to be
they
smart
have
enough
to
to
be.
get
A lot of
people
rules. A lot of rules. And then to get somebody to
agree to
Ag-
go into
agree
the
to-
middle
yeah.
of nowhere with you. You
Yeah,
gotta have some wits.
Yeah, this is all making me sad.
I know it is.
That's why we're laughing because
Yep.
we're
we're
sad.
trying to
under-
counteract the
pain
awful
down.
nature.
But that is something to say about the movie too. Is that they have those moments of comic relief. You have to. Of
Yeah.
course, that scene is super fun when she's
Yeah,
showing that
like-
she's smarter than all of them.
Yeah, especially when your movie starts with a girl being strangled, resuscitated, and then strangled again.
Yeah,
I
that's
need a scene of
that-
Anna Kendrick having fun.
that set the tone where
Yeah.
he gave her mouth to mouth, brought her back, and then he lets her get away a little bit, and then drags her back. I'm like, oh, like that's rough. Like not that dying the first time isn't rough, but bringing him back to hurt him again.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's something that maybe he actually.
Yeah,
That
that was
That's
in
reported.
the
Yeah,
reports.
that's
I was reading
that
about
actually
it.
happens.
I
in
feel
real
like that
life.
was like, and not to keep saying Criminal Minds, but I feel like that was literally a Criminal
yeah,
Minds
that
episode.
was on Criminal Minds.
But they
still.
usually do stuff inspired by
And
real
that
serial
is-
killers.
That's normally a later development for serial killers that like as they progress in their technique and you hate to say skill level, but you can be good at
After a
getting
few
away
buffs.
with murders.
Yeah.
After they like, because they always the first one, this one looks clumsy. He wasn't sure. He didn't have his motive, like his identity of
Yeah.
killing yet. And
he
then
didn't have
you
his
see
equipment, the camera, all of that.
Yeah.
and then you see he's got the camera. He's at a better location. Then we see him kind of. I guess the girl in the apartment he murdered. That was one of the earlier.
Had to have been.
Yeah,
It was
because
messy.
It was. That's a good way to describe it. And like the killing gets cleaner
Mm-hmm.
as he goes, but the
Yeah.
bringing her back to kill her, like that's a like extra sick.
Mm.
Yeah,
Like
that's
because some people just murder, and then some people are like, I want to be able to do this more than once with the same person because their reaction will be better next time
Oh.
because they know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The first time they're surprised, they have no idea, and most of them are unconscious very quickly. The
Mm.
second time, that lady knows what's going to happen, and yeah, that's
Yeah.
rough. That's rough.
anyway.
so-
Puppies are cool,
Yeah,
right? Like I
but
really like puppies.
At the end, I liked how the three of us, when he gets tackled by the cops, like all three of us within 2 seconds are like, kick his ass, shoot him, stab his butt.
I'm like, where's the pole?
and then-
Start beating him.
And then I'm pretty sure it's like, is it too much to ask if the cops kind of
Get in on
Yeah,
it a
like,
little.
give it to him a little
Yeah.
bit? Like
Put the boots to him a little
Yeah.
bit. Like
I want to see what happened to him
You
in
can't
prison.
tell me police brutality wasn't a thing in the 70s. Let's go.
Right.
Put the boots to this
yeah.
guy.
And I wanted something that was not in a boot.
Mm.
Yeah, oh.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. I would have watched that one.
But you know how like a lot of people say when you go to jail for something like
yeah.
child murder,
Yeah.
Child crimes or specific
doing-
to just women
or
and,
murdering, that you
Yeah.
get effed in prison.
Yeah,
like
you kind of have if they find out your jacket's got kids on it or women, and then sexual crimes with
yeah,
either of those.
because there's normal people that are in prison, like normal up here, like not everybody wants
Like,
to
look,
murder and rape people.
the guy skimming the books probably has a much better moral compass than the guy beating up women. So it's like there's dudes in jail that's like, no, that's bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
I took people's money when they weren't home. You were hurting girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna make you feel like the girls you hurt
Yeah.
every day until you die.
So I needed that scene at the end of the
Yeah,
movie.
that's what we were
Where
talking
was
about.
that
Like
scene?
and I was like, I wanted to watch him die.
Well, and
I wanted to watch that man die.
And like I said it after, I was like, but that's what I liked about that Dahmer show, because they gave you that moment of catharsis where one of the prisoners comes in and they're like, so why are you still alive? And he's like, well, I found God. He's like, no, you don't get to use my God to redeem yourself. And he beats the dude to death.
Oh, hell
So
yeah.
I'm like, good.
Which-
let us as the audience see that, because
Yeah.
it's like, I just had to sit and watch this guy do horrible things. You better show me something other than cops tackling.
Now,
him.
I don't want to
Happening
rain on
to him.
your parade, Steve, but that's not how redemption works. So, but yes, I understand. I
Yeah.
understand what
Yeah.
you mean. He's proving that he didn't read the whole book by killing the guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
And-
I get it. Two wrongs don't make a right, but it's one of those things where it's like, you deserve what's coming to you.
If anybody's
you
gonna
can't-
get a pass, it's the guy that killed the guy that went around doing awful things to women.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be up at the pearly gates like, all right, we'll let it slide. Come
you get
on
a pat
in.
on the
They-
back.
One thing that they bookended it with was the first one was the bring her back and
Yeah.
thing. Very, very awful. And then at the end, they tell you about the 12-year-old.
Oh.
Yeah.
So at
I'm
the
glad
start
they
you
didn't show
go,
that.
oh, it's going to be like that. And then at the end, you're given another,
Yeah.
a different instance. Like they bookend it with, this is really awful. Whole story. We're reminding you that this was really
Yeah,
awful.
And it's especially worse because it was after he was let out of jail.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. That one little fact, a single sentence, like he was released and
Yes.
then
It's a-
he killed 2 more people and then they
And then they put him in
finally
jail.
put him in jail.
It's a broken world we live in.
I was like, I'm like, how do you have a surviving victim turn this guy in and you still somehow are like, all right, we're going to watch you a little bit closer
You know
this time.
what it-
Get out of here, scamp.
You know what it probably was? Is that he was probably either questioned or put through a trial where he was charming enough
Well, we
to
saw
get away with
we
it.
saw that when they come into his work, and he's just
He was
chopping
super
it up.
chill.
He was chopping it up with the
Yeah.
cops, and then he has his freak out. That was the only thing I had an issue with. Was somebody like that isn't gonna do that.
Well, I don't think they would do it.
Not
In
even
public?
not even go to the bathroom and do it. They would have waited until they were home, where they've
Yeah.
gotten away with all their
Yeah,
killing.
but I also
They would have been much more secluded before they took the mask off.
Right.
Do you know that because of personal things? Or?
I wouldn't be doing that anywhere near other people.
Well,
Yeah.
and the other thing is, I think they were just trying to drive home where it's like, yeah, he smoothed his way out of the cops, but it's like there's still that
knew
like
that was
court of
close.
public
Yep.
opinion where like now his coworkers are looking.
They're
at
giving him the
different.
eyeballs,
They're like,
and yeah.
they're like, why were the cops? Why are you having all these like weird naked pictures? Now the naked pictures don't seem right.
Now the
that you're
cops show up
showing it.
about girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like that was the thing that made me uncomfortable. Like he's literally showing his victims to these coworkers,
And
and
then-
he was like, "Wow,
They
her
paid me.
mom let you do that." Like,
they paid me.
yeah, and then
it's like
No, they
and then once the
No,
cops show up,
killed
then they're like, "All right, you know what? That does seem a little fucked up." It's like,
Right.
no, if people are showing you like intimate photographs of another person, like just randomly, that shouldn't like raise some alarms. Like,
well, and I mean, they're playing it off like, yo, bro, look at this sick pic I got of this chick, you know?
Yeah,
You like
which,
that one?
to be honest, it's not normal.
yeah,
That's
I don't
not
think it
that's
is.
not normal. I've never had personal information, like intimate knowledge of someone, and just been like, I'm gonna tell everybody. It was like, no, that was for me.
yeah,
I feel like it definitely
But
could happen in real life, but I feel
Yeah.
like it's a trope that I have seen many times, that men are such pigs that they are constantly sharing nude pictures
Yeah.
of the
and
person
all
they're
kinds
having
of
sex with.
all kinds of guys do. I've been showed pictures of girlfriends, significant others, like a fiance at one point. I was just like, oh, I don't know. I don't need to, I
Yeah.
don't need to see that. It's like, and those type of guys don't see anything wrong with it, or
Yeah.
and it's just kind of like, oh, you're one of those.
Mm.
Oh, good. And then the cliche, good luck with this one,
Yeah,
sweetheart.
seriously.
It's just kind of yeesh.
yeah.
We wanted to watch him die, and we never got to watch him die.
We did not.
Yeah.
But we know that he did die in prison. So I hope he was beat to death.
We can hope.
Yeah.
And for the moral of the story, he was beaten to death. No, like, I mean, I will say, like, definitely check this one out. This was it was a very eye-opening experience, and they told a horrifying, great story. Like, it was really well told.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out if there were some, I mean, obviously there's always things you miss. I was trying to figure out what they were trying to do with mirrors, because they kept filming people through mirrors. Like, first it was the acting coach. You see him in a mirror in her apartment, and then also in the mirror of the bar. But then at one point, Anna Kendrick is being
I
filmed
think you
through a
could kind
mirror.
of take that as like you're just seeing the reflection of people. You're not really seeing their true
Who they
selves.
are.
Like,
Yeah.
they're just showing what they're reflecting.
Or it's
And
like
it's
the
a
whole
cool film thing.
Yeah.
It is a cool film thing. Or it's like how people can be two-faced.
Right, exactly.
But I hate the ones that use car mirrors to do it, because that's not,
Because
he can't-
objects in mirror may be closer than they appear.
Well, the angle of it, it's like, if we're on the driver's side and we can see the passenger seat from the mirror, that mirror is giving him zero information
It's
while he
rotated way
drives.
too far.
Well, that's first of all unsafe, unrealistic, but
Yeah.
no, it's being silly. But that is, physics tell me that's the worst place to have the mirror for looking behind you.
Yeah.
But I would go back and watch this again.
Yeah, I would definitely watch this again.
It-
Yeah.
I would be interesting to watch it again to see if I catch any smaller details,
Yeah.
which it's not like we didn't know who the killer, like it wasn't one of those where we're like, well, let's find out together. It's
Yeah.
like, awful guy, here's the awful things, but
He
maybe
did it right
some
away.
some subtle movements with the creepy guys,
Yeah.
or like I didn't notice like a hairstyle or a dress style like that matched. So by not having any similarities, kind of made it seem like it can be any type of guy,
Yeah.
which is the truth.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that was
some of the
point.
guys that are dressed really well are awful. Some of the guys that are dressed not well, like the janitor, can be decent human beings.
Right.
And although just as a guy watching movies like this, it's just kind of like, shit, I'm a guy.
Yeah.
There's always a
I'm
little bit of
sorry.
that. It's like,
I was
I'm a
Sorry
guy.
you gotta be in that group.
I'm like, there's a reason why when I walk down the street, I'm looking at the sidewalk and I am not making eye contact with people.
I look
I am
threateningly-
non-threatening.
I look threateningly at everyone.
I mean, yeah, it's never fun to be in a group of people that are being shit on.
Yeah.
So I get that, but I hope that this movie wasn't like too, like I said, girl power. I feel
No,
like it wasn't at all.
I think it took it in a direction that it needed to go, where it was like, it was truthful, it was very blunt and in your face that every man in this woman's life is a scumbag, but like they did it in a truthful way. It didn't feel like ingenuous or like that they were just like, boo, men are terrible. It's like, no, this is legitimately what they do, and I've
Because
seen guys do this shit, so it's like,
there are stories
it's not far-fetched.
where all the guys are awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's just a fact of life. It's
Right.
like there are times where the next 6 dudes you meet are gonna make your skin crawl.
Yeah.
And that's just the plight of women. It's just like, some of us are pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you can admit that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Not to that extent, but I'm one of them sometimes.
Well, thank you for joining us today on, I hope the music is playing now, on Every Film in the Book. We'll catch you guys the next time.
Bye.
Stay groovy.
Yeah. Cool beans, bro.
Psychedelic.